Kia ora, you should be here if you want to learn how to write a really good example that flows, makes a lot of sense and proves your topic sentence. Remember, this is the simple series, so if you're really wanting to challenge yourself, you should head over to the advanced series about the giver. So we are up to step 7, example, E for example. That's our question, pause if you need to reread it. That's our essay, pause if you need to reread it. And here's our paragraph broken down into its separate points. So previous video we learned how to write a topic sentence, and that was when Jonas becomes the receiver of memories, it is important because we learn that he is different. Now we're up to our example. Lowry writes, for the first time in his 12 years of life, Jonas felt separate, different, when he is selected to be the receiver. And then we have our explanation, analysis and statement. Pause if you want to reread the whole paragraph. So here's our example, and we're going to break it down, see how I've constructed this and why it is a good example. Firstly, the little bit at the end, when he is selected to be the receiver, that's some context. Remember, we learnt about what context means when we learnt how to write our introduction. So I'm telling the reader what is actually happening when Lowry wrote this quote into the giver. Because if you've got somebody who hasn't read the book, they need to know what's going on, or maybe they've even forgotten. Maybe they can't remember that exact moment where that quote was from. Surprise, surprise, people don't remember entire novels. So it's really good to remind them, hey, this is what's actually happening when this bit was written. And the other thing I've done is the fact that it begins with Lowry writes, and then the end is the context. That means that I've embedded or sandwiched or integrated the quote so that it flows. So I've got my own words at the beginning and the end of the quote so that the whole thing flows nicely. I know some of you will find that really challenging, so it's okay not to do it that way. You might have done it. Yours might go something like, when Jonas is selected to be the receiver, Lowry writes, for the first time in his 12 years of life, Jonas felt separate, different. That's okay, it still does the same job. It's just not as smooth in terms of writing style. So it's a really good habit to get into because it shows that you can control the quote and use it for your own purposes, if you like, instead of just kind of tagging it onto the end of a sentence. Now lastly, the most important thing is, does this quote actually prove what I'm trying to say? So if we head back to here, remember my topic sentence is, when Jonas becomes the receiver of memories, it's important because we learn that he is different. So let's ask ourselves, does my quote actually have anything to do with him becoming the receiver of memories? And does it prove that he's different? Well, I know that the point at which this quote is said is directly after he becomes the receiver of memories. It's the beginning of the following chapter. So he becomes receiver of memories, and then the first sentence of the next chapter is about the fact that Jonas feels separate or different for the first time in his life. So yes, we can safely say that this quote proves the topic sentence that I've put forward. Remember that idea of a thesis statement? My thesis is my topic sentence basically, and my example proves my thesis or my topic sentence. So zipping forward, remember to use that context, embed or sandwich or integrate the quote so that it flows. And remember, make sure that your quote actually proves your topic sentence. So once again, you should now be pausing and writing your own. Try not to look back at my exact example. Try and do it on your own. Even better, try and come up with a different quote. If your first paragraph is going to talk about how Jonas is different for the first time ever, try and find a different quote to prove that he is now different. Can I say different some more times? This is different. Now you can't remember what different means. So anyway, remember, pause, replay, rewind, freeze frame when you want to just read the words and not listen to me talking. Write down questions if you have them. Show your work to other people to make sure that it's actually making sense and doing what it needs to do, and then you'll know that you're on the right track. Once you've written your example, you can head on over to the next video, which is all about writing really thorough explanations.